Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Sales for Breakfast, where we break down how you can make more sales with ease and joy. And today, I have a friend, a client, an amazing business owner, Vanessa Ann Miller, here today to talk about the shortcuts to manifestation. Now, if you know me really, really well, you know that I don't necessarily believe in very many shortcuts. You got to put the work in to see the results. But I have discovered over the last couple of years a few things that are so super helpful in achieving your goals. And I'm going to call them shortcuts today. And Vanessa is going to help us understand exactly what that looks like. Vanessa, can you say hi to everyone?
Hi, thank you for having me. Oh my gosh, you're a manifesting generator, right?
I am.
They are known for wanting to master through shortcuts. So that's very interesting. I can't wait to dive into this, what we're going to be talking
Ooh,
about.
that
Yeah.
is so fun. Yes, open my mind and my world to more shortcuts I can take. Oh my gosh, I love it. So tell us a little bit about yourself and the business that you own. And I would love for you to talk about your views around sales.
Yeah. Okay. So as we and I have been working together for quite some time now, and my business has evolved in like so much because now I'm like really owning my truth. And what we're going to be talking about today, I credit that for allowing me to own my truth. And so, what I do is I help women entrepreneurs gain so much clarity around their gifts and their talents using their human design. And it so happens that I bring that part of like the manifestation part is because as entrepreneurs, we're trying to manifest money, success, and all of that, right? And we're trying to find the just like I went through, like that business strategy that is aligned for us, that's going to be able to help us manifest all of these things. And so that's what I do. I bring in that clarity with human design. And then once people have graduated, they're like, ooh, I know my talents. I got this. And they have that boost of confidence. Then we go and set up the strategy. And so I have more of the practical parts of that. So I mix the woo and the practical, and it's just a total vibe. So
Oh, I
that's me.
love that. I love the woo and the strategy. I'll take that all day long. The woo without the strategy, frankly, drives me insane. So I like the combination because that's where I feel that the most success can happen. And also, one thing that I'd love to talk about right now is that if you're listening right now, you are likely the founder or CEO of a startup that's service based, program based, education based. And when you get into this industry, it is so easy to just want to build a business like somebody else that you admire, right? And you're like, oh, I want that. Or I'm going to do a high ticket course, or I'm going to do a low ticket membership. I'm doing high ticket one to one only. I'm going to do a group program. I'm going to do, like there's all of these choices, right? And you might start with one thing and then a year into it be like, holy moly, am I burned out? I'm not energized. This is harder than it should be. And all of those feelings, I think, are super, super natural. And it takes some time to really nail the fulfillment of what it is that you want to deliver for your zone of genius. And I think human design is a great shortcut and a hack and a guidepost to making sure that you want to fulfill whatever it is that you build. Because when you want to fulfill what you build, it's a lot easier to make sales. It's a lot easier to hit growth targets and all of the things that I care about so much, which is why I host Sales for Breakfast and everything that I do. Do you want to add anything to that before I jump in and ask you some juicy questions?
Yeah, and I don't know if this is going to take us off on a tangent, but you're so right. It is definitely a shortcut because we get so used to ignoring that nudge, that intuition, that's saying, "Oh, but this is what your talent is." But we're like, "No, no, no, no. Who am I to do this?" Or like that whole imposter syndrome comes in. And what I have found studying human design for a few months and now finally owning it and coming out of the human design closet and be like, okay, fine, I use this in, in my business behind the scenes with my one-to-one clients, is that I discovered that 71% of the population has an undefined head, meaning they're going to search outside of themselves for inspiration. So they get distracted and they are like trying to figure out, what is she doing? Let me see if I can do that too. Let me try to make it work for myself. And so then what ends up happening is that we let our logical mind try to really control and run the show. And then the next part that is undefined, did I say that was undefined head center? I did say that, right? I get
Yes, you
so like excited in this. The next undefined center for the population is the ego center, and that's all about worthiness, right? And so when we have these centers undefined, we tend to absorb others people's energy and the way they do things instead of being a mirror for them. And so that can trip us up when we're starting in business. And that's why I love to bring that part in. And you're so right, it like makes it so much easier. You get that confirmation of like, okay, I get this is why you have that nudge. And then you get to own your strengths, your power. And yeah, I just love that you brought that in because it's
Yeah,
so true.
it's so interesting to me because I mean, I'm surrounded by incredible business owners that are 7, 8, 9 figures and above. And when I look at their business and their trajectory, they were super, super clear from the beginning of like what fit their personality, their needs, their desires. And I think that is a really crucial link to catapulting as us as a founder, as building your business and all of the things. So I'm super pumped to talk about this. If you're listening right now, let us know if you have researched your human design and what do you call it? Like I'm a 5-1, but what's that number mean? Like what is just your human design number? Is that what we call it?
Well, that's a profile line. So that just kind of tells you like your profile. Yeah.
Okay, yes.
But
Okay,
there's
if you
so
know
many
your
others.
profile, if you know your profile, we're just going to stick with the basics right here. If you know your profile, put it in the comment section right now because I would love to see it. I'm a 5-1 manifesting generator. And Vanessa, what are you?
I'm a 5-2 generator, emotional authority.
Love it. Love it. I don't know my last little slogan.
So
I think it's on some printable that I had a while back. All right, awesome. So first, let's go ahead and jump into, for those that don't know what human design is, can you tell us what human design is?
Yeah, the best way I've heard it be described is that it's like astrology on steroids. I love that. And it's so true, but where it's different is that it's very constant. So it doesn't change as the planets change. It's just like a snapshot of when you were born and how your energy shows up. And in my business, I talk about human design, but I also talk about the gene keys. And so the gene keys is a derivative of human design. And it talks about how it's like your DNA, your energy, and how you're built. And all of that is based off of how the planets were aligned whenever you came into your mom's womb and then when you were actually born. So it's based off of the time you were born, location, and the date. And again, it's so much confirmation. Yes, it's based off of astrology, the Kabbalah, the I Ching, so many different systems. And it's just like an awareness tool. That's what I call it. I use it as an awareness tool. And then I use subconscious reprogramming as a transformation tool.
Yes, and I love it. I also think it's important for everyone to know that based on your human design, it's not a restrictive thing. Because a lot of times when you give a diagnosis or you're this or you're that, people feel like almost restricted, claustrophobic over it. And I just want to share with everyone, it doesn't have to feel that way at all. It's just a tool that you can use. And if you listen to your gut and your intuition, and then you look at human design and you really implement proper strategy, like you will just see the results so quickly. So I just want to encourage everyone that's a skeptic already of anything where you get put classified something or a diagnosis code. It's actually empowering.
Yes.
So I would love to talk about what we all want to talk about, which is more money, right? Everybody wants to make more money. And if you don't want to make more money, then you probably should not listen to my show anymore. We want to make more money, but we want to make it in integrity. We want it to feel ease and flow. And we want to be impact driven, where we care for our clients and our customers as much as we do about our own business. So those are some ethos that I abide by, and I know you do as well. So how can applying human design help me manifest more success and money?
Yeah, this is very interesting. When I was reading more, just like really diving into human design, I thought about you because there are certain centers that when you have it undefined, you have this tendency to be afraid of sales, that you're like, I don't want to be icky. I don't want to be all these different things. And that's really the solar plexus. And so how you use it to manifest is that, again, it's an awareness tool. You get to use it as, hey, that's just the way I'm built. And I get to work through these things. So this is what I always bring together. I'm going to bring this little chart together here.
Okay. Love
So
visual.
yeah, and it might be a little bit backwards. I'm not quite sure, but
no, I can read it. I mean, at least on my view, it's straight. Okay.
perfect. So what I have found is that when we get into our heads and we make meaning of our results, then if we feel bad about them, it takes us down the towards shame and guilt and all the things and fear. And so that lowers our vibe, right? And we're not able to attract the things that we want on the higher scale of love, abundance, and all the things, and the inner peace. And so with human design, what I have found is that it gives you permission to be you and to release the shame. And when you understand like the way some of the centers work together, you'll see that, oh, I have an undefined solar plexus and I'm feeling really down. Wait a minute, is this truly my emotions or is it someone else's? And then you get to clean that up. And so you get to see like, wait, this is not my guilt. If this is not my guilt, I get to release it and I get to get higher on that emotional frequency, right?
Yeah.
And then that's when you can manifest with more ease because you're matching that vibration there.
Oh, I love that so much. So, can you give me like a specific example, either in your life or a client's life, where you were able to shed this really important light onto their business, and what was the outcome?
Yes. Okay. So I just did a podcast on this yesterday.
Tiny.
And yes, no, right. And so one of my one-to-one clients, she has an undefined head and an undefined solar plexus, meaning that when she has this undefined head, she's going to seek inspiration from everyone outside of her. She's going to try to like get that wisdom from other people. And the way it worked with her undefined solar plexus is that she started to take on everyone else's emotions. And then she would like get into like this spiral, this like shame spiral of like overthinking and then feeling really bad and all this sets. So I shared with her, I was like, this can be a loop that you get stuck in. This is a pattern that you get stuck in, like thinking these emotions are yours and then feeling bad about them and thinking bad about them. And then your actions are not in alignment with where you want to go. So she was like, okay, I'm going to be aware of this. And I said, next, let's use a mirror strategy. Everything that you're seeing, I want it to be a mirror for you. I want you to think of it as your subconscious trying to say, hey, this is going on inside. Can you help me with this? And so she was able to release all of those things and really own her power, where she's like, okay, this is not mine. She avoided going down those spirals of like shame, guilt, and all the things. And she had her confidence just like so much more boosted. So she like took action instead of being in fear of all these other things and being stuck in those patterns. And so when she took action, this aligned action, this like,
I'm going to give a visual right now.
Yeah.
Visual. Okay. So it's like before knowing human design, it's almost like you're in shackles. You're trying to run, you're trying to do the things. You're like, what the heck? Like, I can't break free. And then when you find out what it is, then it's like the shackles are cut and you can sprint. And if there's a muddy puddle in the way, you know where to jump and how to navigate so that you don't get stuck in the shackles again.
Exactly. Yes. I say it's like kind of like a metal detector. We're like, beep, beep, beep. Oh, here it is. Let's release this. Yeah, for sure. And
I
so
love that.
Yeah, when I bring in the subconscious reprogramming, it's like, okay, this is the transformation tool. We get to see what's coming up and know how to navigate that before, sends us down the spiral.
Yeah, I love that so much. So tell us, let's get to like the meat of this with the shortcuts, right?
Okay.
So how does human design help someone create a shortcut to wealth and success through manifestation?
Yeah, so you actually, like what we were just talking about, you kind of like it's like having headlights where you can see a lot further. And so when you can see what's coming up, you can avoid those things. You can start slowly pressing on the brakes, right?
So what does manifestation look like without human design? And then what does it look like with human design?
Yeah, so I would think that when you are manifesting without human design, it's just kind of a lot of resistance, a lot of those loops, which keep you stuck, and you end up in your not self theme of maybe frustration or anger, or disappointment or bitterness. And then you have this self doubt. And then what ends up happening is like you take one step forward and two steps back, right? But
and how about this? How about when you say you want something, but deep down your body doesn't really want it, so your manifestation doesn't work?
Exactly. And, it helps you with your focus too, because essentially manifestation is about you having intentional focus and taking that action. But if you're not clear and you have all this, thought patterns, then you're just going to keep yourself stuck.
Yeah, I love that so much. So when you know your human design, that's when you can stay focused, clear, and on target, and also avoid all the things and the shiny objects. And I
Mhm.
mean, one of my best performing emails and copy I've ever written was like, how to avoid shiny object syndrome, right? I mean, everyone under the sun wanted to read that. And I think that it's really, really important. And even in my own coaching and my own support to my clients, like when they come to calls and they're like, I'm going to do this, this, and that. I was like, hold on. Did you finish the other thing? Because we can't start that till the other thing's done, right? Because in between the few days I talked to him, some ad popped up that told him this is the next way to do it, right?
Yeah.
So having that like internal restraint and that poise and the ability to strategize, like there's so much ease in that. But I don't think anyone can trust that ease unless they understand their human design, the principles of manifestation, if that's what they choose to use in order to get to their goals faster. And it can just be roadblock after roadblock.
Mhm.
And also it's like keeping up with the Joneses. Like, I don't
Yes.
know. I don't want to be a Jones.
Yeah.
So I'm cool with that, right? Like I get people asking me all the time, do you want to do this? Are you going to do this? Are you going to do that? And I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm going to stay right here in my lane because I like my lane, right? And so I think it just takes a certain level of like confidence, like you're saying, and clarity to stay right there. And it's discipline, right?
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah. And then the whole like confirmation, oh, this is my lane. You feel good in that lane. You know that you're meant for that lane.
Yes, absolutely. I love that. Yes, confirmation that you're in the right lane because sometimes it's hard with, we both know a lot of really smart people that could probably make money doing 10 different things, right?
Hmm.
So it's tempting to want to make money doing 10 different things, right? Now, not to say you can't eventually make a ton of money, but you got to build one thing out at a time so that it has its full potential, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And that's why I bring the gene keys because that goes further confirmation. That's like more clarity in it because it talks about your inner calling.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about the gene keys before I move on.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So right now inside Manifestation School, we're working on the activation sequence, which is
Okay.
all about your genius. So it reveals to you your life's work. And so there's certain spheres that pertain to the different planets. And each one will tell you what your shadow is that's blocking you from reaching your gift or fully manifesting your purpose or the specific area. And what I have found is that it's like people are like, how the hell do you know this? Are you psychic? I'm like, no, it just says it in your chart. And so
Is it
it,
right
it
there?
it's a deep dive. Yeah.
Oh, I love that. So it takes it to like your life calling. Yes, I love that so much. It's so easy to stay to your North Star when you really know it and you believe in it, right?
Hmm.
So how do people know that this will actually work for them, especially if they've tried multiple, I mean, the people that Google all day, YouTube's, free courses, downloads, like journals, like I mean, I believe that, a lot of people have a graveyard of this kind of stuff hanging around. Really worked. So why will this work for someone even if some other things haven't worked in the past?
Yeah, I believe that it's because it's your true self. Like when you just dabble in it a little bit, you're gonna be like, "Oh, wait, you have that clarity. And then when you dig deeper and deeper, then you just feel that literally like sense of relief throughout your whole body. Like you get to relax. And I just know it works for people because I've girl, my husband doesn't believe in any of this stuff. I was like, just kind of like reading his stuff. He's like, damn straight, that's me. And so, if my husband from a small town in Texas who is not woo can confirm that this is speaking to him and that he literally was like, he had a sense of relief. And like, I can tell, like, it's opened up our connection because he feels like I get him now on a deeper level. So I know if it can work for him from Borger, Texas, it can work for anyone.
Oh my gosh, I love it. So it doesn't just impact your business, it impacts your relationships and your personal joy and all of these really important things because I mean, I love making money, but I also want to be happy. So that is an
Yeah.
important piece of it, right? And your
Yeah.
relationships are the keystone to all of that, right?
Mhm.
Everything is relationships. If you don't have the right relationships in your life, it's kind of hard to enjoy it even if you're making a lot of money, right?
For sure. Yeah.
Okay, so then one last question that I have here for you is, can't I just manifest with intentional focus? And I think we talked on that a little bit, but let's expand on that misconception.
Yeah, yes, you can. But then what ends up happening is like what you said, are you sure that you want this? And then when you
Mm,
start to give yourself permission to what you want by learning your human design and like listening to those that inner dialogue that's really for your benefit,
mhm.
then you're going to be able to use clear intention versus like what you think is intentional, but it's just really something that's coming from someone else. Kind of like we talked about having 71% of the population having undefined head. It's like they think they want it just because they see someone else having it. But when you understand these things, you're going to have clear intention. So that's going to just help the manifestation process a lot happen a lot faster.
So I was reading an article. I went on vacation last week and I was like, I'm totally unplugging. So I bought actual magazines at the airport. I was like, oh my gosh, these things are off my phone. It's amazing. And Lewis Howes, the Greatness School of Greatness, like millions and millions of followers probably across all of his platforms, super, super successful. And his PR was on fire for this month because he was in both success magazines that I read.
He was an entrepreneur too, right?
Entrepreneur and
Yeah.
success. And I was like, oh, we're just like on fire here, right?
Okay.
So I was reading through one of the articles and it was really interesting something that he said. And I would be curious if he ever looked into his own human design after having this conversation with you. Because at one point of his business, he had like a high ticket program, I think, and a mastermind and a few other like high ticket containers, right? And he sat down one day to really reflect on, he called it his core values, his mission, what he really wanted to do. And he felt like that wasn't scalable. Like, yes, I can keep charging more money and make a ton of money, but there's only going to be so many people who want to join $100,000 a year mastermind. So he felt really like a lot of inner conflict on like what's aligned for his mission and what he wants to do. And he said in the article, like, I just want to reach millions and millions of people. And I want to, instead of niche down, I want to expand. So he wanted to go broader, just not business, but just in general of how to be great. And he broke down all of these things he really wanted. And then he talked about how scared he was when he was like shutting down all of his high ticket containers to really go all in on his podcast. I think he has a couple of like digital courses, but he monetizes his podcast like crazy. And he has a few other things, but everything is meant for like the 1 to the million. Right? Not 1 to many, but 1 to million. And like clearly he's doing great, very successful. It worked out, right? And his joy got greater too. And so it's interesting to me. So I think of him through this story and how he took that opportunity, that risk, something that felt scary. Because I think something we haven't talked about here, like it's going to feel good when you're in alignment. But if you have to take action that could impact your bottom line or change the way you do things, like that's scary, right? So I think it's really important that we know the stories of people that made the shift, right? And are successful. So I'm thinking of him right now.
Yeah, yeah. And sometimes we like think it's scary, but we're like, is it scary or is it nervousness? But like we forget to listen to our body and then we make a different meaning of those feelings for our bodies. And so it could be just nervousness and excitement.
I love that. Okay, so tell us about this quiz that I just put up on the screen, vanessaannmiller.com/business-quiz.
Yeah. Okay. So it took me some real tech and thinking to do this. So this is a human design based quiz. You do have to know your human design type and the centers that you have undefined. And so what it does is it tells you your manifestation code, how you can manifest using your human design. So it will show you some tips that how to best manifest, but then also it'll give you like indicators of what to look for if you're kind of veering off of your not self, and then how to get back into that so you can get into that vibe that we talked about, like that feel good vibe that is going to magnetize dream clients, success, and all the things.
Oh, I love that. And if you don't know your human design, just Google, how do I know my human design? And there's like 400 places you can go to find your human design and then go take the quiz, right?
Yeah, for sure. I like to go to mybodygraph.com and yeah, it's pretty simple.
Perfect. Fantastic. I love it. This is amazing. So any final words to the community? They're going to go take your quiz. Tell us a little bit. I think you just mentioned it for a moment there. Is it the manifestation school that's currently open or the money school? I know you have the
Yeah.
two.
So Manifestation School is going to be open in May, the first week of May, and it's all about using your human design to manifest more money and creating wealth strategies, because we do have a financial advisor that comes in there that teaches you like what to do with your money now that you're manifesting a lot. So there's a lot of strategy and there's a lot of woo. So.
I absolutely love that you're putting a financial advisor into this, because like, great, you're great at making money, but now what? And that was a personal journey that I made last year in really making some bold moves of like, what am I going to do with all this money I'm making? So it's so cool that you're doing that. And I love it. How can people find out more information about that as well?
Manifestation School, if they join me in my group, the Aligned Businesswoman, they can just see what I'm doing, hang out there. It's just kind of sit tight. You can actually take the quiz, then get on the waiting list. Perfect. Because when you're on the waiting list, then you get to save some money.
Awesome.
Quick manifestation right there, right? Quick manifestation.
Yay. So just go take the quiz, get yourself on the wait list if that's what you want to do, and enjoy entering the world of my friend, Vanessa Ann Miller. Thank you so much for coming on Sales for Breakfast today, and I will chat with you soon.
Thank you. I appreciate you.
Bye.
Bye.